folks, and welcome back to the 2021 Overwatch EGF High School National Championships. I am Waffles for Sid, and joining me today is Ocean on the analysis. And we are thrilled to be here as part of the EGF production team to bring you this phenomenal event. Now, of course, big thanks to our collaborators who helped make this and all the other esport events this weekend happen of ESPN and Disney. Thanks again to both of you. Ocean, I'm actually really excited to see the semifinals match that we're about to cover. There's a lot on the line for these two teams. Obviously, the winner moving on to be in the finals. But we're going to see Richardson High School's Nuclear Eagles go up against All Hallows High School's Gale Gamers Blue. So, what are your thoughts on today coming up?
Going into today, it's a little bit weird for me. I've been mostly working in Rocket League this week, but this event, it's a unique one, right? Because it's younger players for one. These players aren't going to be as experienced in any sort of competition, right? I mean, maybe some sort of sports, but esports relatively new to even the collegiate side, never mind the high school side of things. So a little bit of an experience I'm expecting. So what I'm looking for is the learning experience for these players. What are they going to learn about themselves and how they would like to compete in the future?
Yeah, and I'm sure, they've been taking a lot of that experience that they've had throughout the season to adapt and grow and, continue to refine their skills. I do know that when they were interviewing some of the players for the Nuclear Eagles, they talked about the grind that they put forth to, prepare for specific teams and matchups and really work on their ability to read the game. So looking forward to see what they bring to the table. Of course, kicking off with Control, my favorite game type personally, but going to Nepal. So some map variants coming up.
Yeah, so we're heading to Control first. Nepal is the locked first control map of every single series in the high school national championships. We do have a sort of map pool for teams to work around. Nepal's an interesting one as well. I feel like this does suit the lower level of play a lot. You're going to see some mixed brawl or rush variants. You're not going to see either or, I don't think. I don't think these teams are going to be skilled enough in their timing and engagements to play rush, or they might not be comfortable in the standard brawl composition. And that's no harm to these teams. Those are pretty hard to get right at higher levels. So it's going to be interesting to see. I would suspect some sort of mix between brawl and rush comps.
Yeah, and definitely I see a mix in my personal games and my not that high of a level. But of course, these guys here, they've actually faced off against one another before. Previously throughout the All-Stars Championships, Nuclear Eagles did manage to go 3-0 against Gale Gamers, but I gotta say that was not, it was closer than just a full 3-0 wipe. There were some really great moments coming out from Gale Gamers, and I'm looking to see how much they truly grew from that.
Oh, you want to point out something that I've seen immediately, right? Something that has immediately caught my eye. I said we weren't going to get a full rush composition or a full brawl composition. I noticed in my eye, in the corner, Richardson High School playing full rush. Instead of the Somber Reaper or Somber Tracer, they're running an Echo with it instead, which is fair enough because they've had to run that in the Overwatch League when they've been running rush competition, so that's maybe something that the players have more experience studying or watching, so that's nice for them. And Richardson High School have had a lot of experience in these nationals, had 3 teams in playoffs across Rocket League and Overwatch.
Yeah, they have been producing some quality esports teams. Something is going on in the water over there, and they are getting aggressive here on the point. Look at that first blood drawn by Richardson High School, but it is answered in kind. A little bit of back and forth here, but it is a scrappy fight on the point. We can see the tanks just swinging away as Richardson High School pulls away a bit in the kill feed and is going to go ahead and try to take this space. They take down Oblivion's finally. Geez, he was swinging for ages, Ocean.
Pretty good. Timing wise, it was a little off, but it was a straight rush. They kind of had it in mind what target they wanted to go for at the start of the fight. They took that first blood, and that's so critical when you're playing the rush composition to make sure you get that first kill. They didn't really know what they wanted to do afterwards. That's why the fight dragged on, but it was a pretty clean team fight for Richardson going into the next fight. No ultimate starting build online, except for Oblivion's will have an Earth Shatter.
And that could be a fight changer. There it is. It's thrown and it finds a couple people in the process. There's a kill coming off the end of that, but it is still a back and forth between both of these teams. Ocean, Immortality Field committed early here, and Phoenix goes down after it's taken out of the picture. Didn't quite keep him alive, and now Richardson High School is still trying to push forward here. The point has been flipped back in favor of All Hallows, but I don't think it's going to last long as Nuclear Eagles are coming in hot and take the kill feed for their own.
This composition a lot. This is one of my favorite compositions to cast in the game, especially when we get a mirror matchup of it. All Hallows, they're making some adaptations to this. They're coming over to the Roadhog, which on paper is really good because it's able to, take off angles and stay away from spam, but also Roadhog is very immobile. Now, how much damage is going to be done that quickly onto you? I actually don't like this pick because you are so easily walked on by the rush composition.
Yeah, that speed is can be so deadly. It'll catch you unaware if you cannot, and you can't run away from it. This aggression coming through, it's going to be really, really unfortunate for the All Hallows team that didn't quite come out the way they were looking, and they go down early, and that's going to be Nuclear Eagles cleaning them up.
I don't like some of the picks they're making. Their composition is really immobile. So if any of their players sort of get isolated during the fight, said their Baptiste uses the exo boost and goes up in the air, and they're immobile for a second, then honestly they just get walked on. So their composition really struggles here. They have to rely on some of their CC cooldowns, their crowd control, like flashbang that Phoenix possesses on the hero we call McCree.
Sound barrier is initiated here by Richardson High School as they're going forward. Ocean, that was the reinforcement they needed to get aggressive and just keep pressing W and free firing straight into their face.
This Richardson High School team, they've got a lot of identity about them. They know what they want to do. Yeah, it's not all pristine. It's not as perfect as some of the other Overwatch gameplay we've casted in the past. But you know what? It's got a real clean look to it. They've got a nice base understanding of what they want to do. And you know what? For them, all I want to see from these players in the future of their careers, not just in this series, and even in this series as well, that you can improve over the course of the series, it's just little tidy plays, right? So their timing's been pretty good. It's not been perfect, but just tidying their play up a little bit to absolutely dominate the Hallows team. I mean, it's fair enough to say they had a pretty good start there, but they look comfortable in this composition. They don't lack any identity at all, but just tidying up their play and learning from this tournament as a way to get better as people and players, that's what I want to see from the individuals on this roster.
Yeah. And, there are some pretty talented individuals on both of these. They have a variety of all-star players who are on some of the earlier, more fun matches, and honestly, Kelly Dudd was a force to be reckoned with. So DPS-wise, he could make some magic happen, but it's actually going to be Oblivions, who was also on an All-Stars team, making it work for All Hallows here, opening up the fight. They're getting aggressive and pushing forward, but the point, hasn't been unlocked yet. They're waiting for the right opportunity to move in and take that space. Oblivions goes for that hook to drop someone into the abyss, but doesn't quite find it. The boosters are online in the nick of time for Dakwall so he can fly right out before falling. Now it's a fight breaking out on the point, definitely back and forth, but that is going to seal the deal as the DPS come up big for Richardson High School and take down All Hallows.
Nice from them. They lost the player early on, but they didn't let that phase them. They walked on to Oblivions, who's the kind of standout target other than the Orisa or the Baptiste for the rush composition to walk onto. Again, those heroes don't have much mobility, so that's why they want to go straight onto those targets. But even in the 5v6, they just took their time, waited for the right opportunities, and it was quite strong positional play from Richardson High School. Next team fight for them, they'll probably have a coalescence to engage as well.
Early hook comes through from Oblivions, giving an opportunity for All Hallows to push. They got that one-man advantage, but the Immortality Field is forced out early from All Hallows. Great job coming through from Nuclear Eagles, and it is a chaotic fight on the point with ultimates being thrown left and right from everyone here. It's Nuclear Eagles coming out on top and continuing to prevent All Hallows from being able to run towards the objective.
Yeah, All Hallows are really struggling to walk into team fights, and Richardson are that's kind of the difference between the two teams. Engagements. And Nuclear Eagles were doing that with only 5 players as well. They lost their Reaper again early on, but as soon as
Yeah.
they had the Coalescence, that was the go button for them, and they really understood that. But now, All Hallows have some tools to work with. They're going to both of their DPS ultimates, Kelly, Dud, and Phoenix. So watch out for them in the next fight. See if they can make any individual plays.
It went all the way around town to make and attack the point from this entirely new angle we've seen. The Death Blossom comes through, but that defense matrix is there, soaking up so much of that damage. We see Venom has duplicated the opposing Pharah, and she goes for the barrage, gets taken down when she's in her most vulnerable state, and Venom in turn launches their own, able to build that up very quickly. And now, as the Echo, arguably even more dangerous with that primary kit, as Nuclear Eagles are continuing to fight and hold the point here. All Hallows trying to do their best, but that boop, oh man, Tom just absolutely bloodthirsty and really showing off why he was on the All-Stars team as well. 97% and counting. I don't think All Hallows is going to be able to come back, and that's going to be a very clean win for Richardson Eagles here in the first map.
Okay. So again, from Richardson in particular, All Hallows certainly have to work on with their engagements, and also need to think about their hero picks as a 6, right? They run Roadhog as a sort of answer to Winston or Reaper. But the problem is, as a 6, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, you could counter an individual hero on that team with yours, or a couple of different individual hero on those teams. You 1v1 counter them, you can duel them. The problem is, in the rush composition, you're not going to be able to isolate a hero like Reaper or Winston. You got to fight them with the rest of their team helping them out. But enough of that. That's how they can improve in the rest of the series, and that's what I want to see from them. I want to go with Richardson just for a small moment there. That last team fight where we were talking about the 2 DPS ultimates that Hallows had online, right? So for me, it's incredibly interesting that Richardson, as a team, as a young, inexperienced team, were able to deal with both of those DPS ultimates. Usually in lower ranks or whatever, that causes a lot of problem, but they were able to eat up that Death Blossom pretty easily. Spot on. I don't think anyone took really any damage from it. And Venom's duplicate onto the far to take them on mid barrage. Very clever play. Quite impressed.
I agree with you spot on there. Death Blossoms more often than not catch a lot of people unaware, and it seemed like the entire Richardson team was very aware of some of the ult tracking happening and mitigated that almost effortlessly. It was very, very smooth reaction timing to, in my opinion. And you mentioned that Death Blossom completely denied by the defense matrix, which, you know, if you only have a split second left of that in comparison to the full charge, not going to be as much, but pretty much had the full thing online and ready to combat those DPS ults. So a lot of vision for the Richardson High School Eagles on that front. You know, we're going to Kings Row. So I'm actually really excited to see the difference in map selection. When these two teams faced off earlier in the series, they did actually go to Blizzard World instead. So, you know, maybe we're going to see Gale Gamers try to prevent history from repeating itself.
Hey, I highly doubt it. I'm going to be completely honest. In that first map, Richardson High School, the Nuclear Eagles were a bit of a class above, right? Maybe even a couple of classes. But there are a couple of differences between the two teams. Noted earlier the importance of their timing and their engagements. That was one of the major differences. And the second one is not their setups in particular, but how they make plays, how they set up plays. Not how they're positionally set up or set up to take a team fight, right? Or just set up to take an engagement. Setting up plays and making plays. And in essence, Richardson High School knew that Death Blossom was going to there, so they're going to make a defensive play to deal with that. They were able to save Matrix, they knew they had the Death Blossom, that's really good. When they're making a play, then when they're making an engagement, okay, we're engaging with a couple lessons, and that's going to create space for our self-destruct. That's a play that they are able to set up and make happen. All Hallows, when they had that Death Blossom, it was just kind of the Reaper player walking in alone and trying to make something happen on their own. There was no setup to make that play from the rest of their team. So making plays is something that Richardson High School does a lot better than All Hallows.
Yeah. And part of the elements of making those plays that you're talking about is getting those resources used up by your opponent before engaging. And that's really going to be, you know, the key to some of the setup in having successful plays. definitely shows off why Overwatch is a team sport. Solo Reaper just wraithing in willy nilly. I'm sure we've all seen it in our own quick play games ourselves, where they just wraith straight into all of the crowd control abilities and then get stunned down very quick. So, a lot of communication has to come through for those teams to be successful. And even if you have your communication, the timing has to be there too. And I think that that is also one of the very difficult parts to master and synergize with your comrades on.
We casted a game the other day at a very high level tournament, and we had a couple of 4.3k teams facing up against 4.5k ish teams, and there we saw a difference between a 4.3k team struggling with timings. Right, so the highest rank in the game, people struggle with timings. There's a massive difference between individual players and some of the top teams in the world, and just individually good players in their timing. There is such a big difference across the entire board here. And then
Yeah.
that's no different in this series, right? Richardson High School, timing wise, is 10 times better than All Hallows. But All Hallows, they've got to find a way to either fix that or make it so it's not an issue. Maybe either
Yeah.
force Richardson into team fights. That's something you can do. You can force your opponent into a team fight by having a player in an awkward position that they have to deal with early and then collapsing on them. That's one way you can force a team fight. But maybe just trying to make Richardson uncomfortable, something like that, is something I would recommend All Hallows could do, because there's no way they
Hmm.
fix their timing and teamwork to that level or to Richardson's level just like that. They can't do it in this
Yeah.
series alone.
Definitely. That is a very difficult thing to ask of a team. And I have to say, Richardson High School is definitely showing how strong of a high school team they are. On their Monday broadcast, on the Monday broadcast, they were talking about how they wanted to 3-0 everybody who came through on the stream. They were on the same stream all day. And they were very, very close to being successful. And wanted to clearly set themselves apart from the competition. And the way to do that is to win with no contest, no questions asked about the quality and the level of play that you bring to the table. And I do like seeing that type of focus and seriousness from these high school teams, because that is a great driving force to be coming through the pipeline for esports in general.
Yeah, so let's talk about the defensive composition here. It's not really standard or anything you're going to see on King's Row. These heroes that you will sometimes see on King's Row, but not together. I mean, you maybe see Reinhardt and Zarya together, and maybe a Reaper with that, and you'll maybe see Hanzo with Reinhardt, but you won't see all of these picks together. I think a lot of this is just comfort, and I think they are comfortable in this series. I don't think they need to have a full competition anymore. They just need to play their game.
Yeah, we'll have to see if their game is enough and if they can bring it. Bit of aggression coming through around the statue here. Oblivion's fell a little bit low, backing off, getting topped off, but the pick onto Majin and the pin to follow up. That's going to put Gale Gamers behind very significantly coming up, and they're going to have to reset Ocean.
Yeah, it was very quickly over. And on the offense, of course, they're running a couple of different things. They're running the hero like Genji, which requires a lot of coordination to try and collapse on targets and start building up that ultimate. Or there's another way to play Genji, poke from afar and slowly build up that ultimate. And I like that a lot more for the composition they're playing, because they've got Hanzo as well that likes to play from distance. So playing from afar, just poking and waiting out, building up their ultimates is a good play style here for All Hallows.
Shatter comes through. I don't know if they were ready for it to happen that early, but he was so low. Kelly Dud slices him off and finishes him off after that. All Hallows now has that at one-man advantage, and with the tank removed from Nuclear Eagles, it's going to be a tough defense here. We see Venom is supercharged, but he slipped! A clutch sleep and anti-nate to follow up from Majin. That just shut the door on Nuclear Eagles. Possibility right there for that fight. They are grouping up a little bit here, maybe going to try and recontest just at the last moment. Nope, giving it up, Ocean, and going to try and just hold this archway here. Definitely a very good defensive archway to hold. We've seen teams get stuck here, but the nano that has come through onto Oblivion's, even though he slept out of it, is going to force Nuclear Eagle or All Hallows back, and the aggression is just going to continue.
Yeah, so Nuclear Eagles, they just have to wait for their Zarya to come back. That's a lot of damage. That Zarya, when fully charged, could do 190. damage per second, so they need that Zarya back in the fight, if not only to support their Reinhardt as well. There's some ultimates building online for the defense. They were a little bit rash, though, earlier with that Aura Shatter.
A couple people sat on the ground, and that is going to be All Hallows continuing to push and cleave forward. Ocean, they're just cleaning up Nuclear Eagles. It seems like they were able to throw them off balance and then continue to push them off balance and keep them that way. Another big sleep's coming through, and the anti-nade follows up. The Shatter blocked there by Oblivions, not finding anything for Richardson High School. They're playing around this corner here. They'll want to avoid some of the damage coming through. Those anti-nades have been nasty, and Paradox has been hit with one. Oblivions has slept in the middle of his aggression, and the sound barrier has kept All Hallows reinforced, but the Grav Dragons are nasty, and now a Nano Blade has popped from All Hallows. There are ultimates flying left and right, Ocean, and it is chaotic on the point. It is a back and forth, but oh, this Death Blossom may have just sealed the deal. Everyone's been cleared out, and the point finally stalled.
They use a lot of their ultimates, Richardson High School, and forgive me for saying this, maybe a bit harsh, but they do not look the same team they were on map 1. They look pretty composed on map 1 of Nepal, right? But that random Aura Shatter on point A that is snowballed the car all the way to through point B, almost the end of point B, just because that one mistake, that one moment where they got overzealous. That's all a result of that, because of the space and momentum All Hallows have been able to take.
Both Reinhardt's stunned, but it's the anti-nade from Majin. Paradox just lays everyone out with the fire strike, and I mean, shut the door on that play. There was no hope coming back after that.
Yeah, you're forgiven, Paradox. Yeah, you may have found point out, right? But that's enough. That was a really cool fire strike play. Gets 3, and that was much better from Richardson. And oh, okay. So we're gonna see Paradox hiding behind for an Aura Shatter, looking to catch All Hallows as they rotate behind. Have they noticed it? No, they're just taking a long rotation to the high ground. Not sure what this is going to accomplish here, but actually it will take them out of Paradox's path. Ooh. Yeah, they're going to go to the left, so they're not going to be able to be shattered from behind, but maybe Paradox can find them. He's still hiding. They still haven't found them. Oh no!
They dropped down and saw him right there. They just stunned each other right in the front lines. Back wall comes up huge though. Those storm arrows just put in so much damage into All Hallows, and they tore through them after that. Now All Hallows is on the retreat. They took all that time to rotate, and didn't quite get those results they were looking for.
Yeah. They realistically, All Hallows had a massive advantage into that fight. Their rotation was good. It forced Paradox and a couple of other players out of position. They noticed Paradox out of position. They noticed them, but they don't really do anything about it. They don't confirm the kill. And from there, the team fight goes south. Oh no, behind.
Oh, the Shatter comes through. Everyone's down, and it's just easy pickings when everyone's holding still after your Reinhardt has shattered them. Ocean,
yeah.
I don't know how much more you could set up your teammates to get the kills.
Yeah, I feel like Richardson High School might be playing with their food a bit here. Like, that was a very overzealous play. If someone did that in my rankings, I'd be hitting the report button. But it worked out well for them.
Star goes ahead, launches those dragons, and they tear through, splitting a little bit of Richardson High School apart. They're backing off here, and the Death Blossom from behind. It just takes out 3 people right away. And once again, Dr. Drago has just removed so many people from All Hallows from the fight.
Why are Richardson High School getting away with these, quite frankly, silly plays that you'd never see at a high level? All Hallows don't really have a full composition or a setup at all, really, so they're really struggling, especially when something's in their backline, to turn around and get the necessary peel or deal with that, right? Because they aren't set up properly, so that's hard for them.
Phoenix launches the sound barrier, and the Earth Shatter is thrown behind the opposing Reinhardt shield. No kills come off the end of that, but there's the grab coming through from All Hallows. Doesn't find anything, and oh, it's still a scrappy fight here on the point, but it is a desperate attempt for All Hallows to stay and keep this point alive, but that's going to be it. Richardson Eagles clearing them off and having a very, very strong first point defense. Second map defense.
Yeah, so they got a little bit silly on point A. They got pretty silly for the start of point B, where they really didn't understand what their opponents wanted to do, and they just kind of got caught out and lost a lot of point B. But once they got, back into things, settle down. They didn't really play well, but they were better than their opponents by quite a bit, right? They were making these really confident plays that realistically should never work. But All
Mm-hmm.
Hollows, the one thing that they need to improve on, in essence, to make sure that they can set up for those sort of plays, especially when you got a hero like Hanzo that Dar was playing, you could use the ability called Sonic Arrow to scout out where your opponents are, and then you can know if there's a player flanking like Paradox did with the Earthshadow or Draco did with the Death Blossom so many times. So many times I noticed where
Yeah.
they just got caught out by flankers because they weren't scouting properly, they weren't looking for players. They just didn't really seem to have a setup at all. On Nuclear Eagles, I mean, I don't think their game plan is to take advantage of their power setups. I just think they're here to have fun, and they're having fun. They're making plays. They're not great plays, but they are getting value, and that's all that matters, really. They just want to get through to the next round.
Yeah, well, this is the semifinals of the national championship. So, winner is going to move along over to the finals and try to just take it all to actually show, they're the dominant force here in the league. Nuclear Eagles opening up with, the Widowmaker on offense as well. Going to be taking those shots from the back, but the front line is going to hold strong and just continue to get aggressive. Those bubbles are used up a bit here early for All Hollows, but they're backing off, trying to give space and continue duking it out here with Nuclear Eagles. We can see those Reinhardts just continuing to swing away, doing a bit of a dance, and it's gonna be Darklighter going down first. The damage was just too much. After that, Nuclear Eagles knows they need to move forward and swiftly take the point. They're about to cap it here, and All Hollows has to fall back and regroup.
Yeah, okay, so the D.Va Venom is going to go and help Draco get out of that fight. And that's a difference as well. We talked about just, giving resources and using them better after map 1, right? Especially when you're trying to make a play. All Hollows, Reinhardt-wise, when they're going into Reinhardt duels, they are giving their Reinhardt nothing, which is why Darklighter is just on such lower health compared to Paradox, isn't able to swing the hammer enough as well, so that's why there's an Earthshatter ultimate charge difference. The more damage doing Overwatch, the more ultimate charge you gain.
Darklighter saw that Earthshatter coming around the side from Paradox, put his shield up in time, and took it full force, shut it down in its tracks. All Hollows doing a great job defensively of holding strong, and they get another pick onto Richardson. The Ant Matrix has been popped on. Another fire strike that is so deadly coming through from Paradox. They've got to be careful of this Reinhardt, and well, All Hollows backing off a bit here. They don't want to lose too much ground, but they're down a couple people and waiting for them to come back. Now Nuclear Eagles getting aggressive, and look at those crit players. Majin's heart is probably beating so fast to keep everyone alive. We can see the nano boost online, but who is going to be the target? There's a lot of ultimates for All Hollows to try and commit to this fight and prevent the point from being taken, but it's going to be about who can do it. The grab is taken out of the equation so early thanks to the Death Blossom, and that could be devastating for All Hollows. It's such a powerful ultimate, and now Nuclear Eagles are continuing to just cleave forward and clear out the remaining members of All Hollows. Ocean, that's going to be it. They're going to roll the payload forward, and they're going to go ahead and take King's Row in our second map.
I mean, that map was really over for a long time. Just as soon as they were sort of held on point B and struggled in point A, like the first team fight, it was pretty much going to be over. It was just a question of when. And they kind of lost that in the most unconvincing way possible, right? They were just backing off and backing off and backing off and backing off with no real intent when they had ultimates.
Yeah.
They had players there. They can make plays there, or they can have an idea to at least hold on. They had a graviton charge. They had a nano boost. They had so many options to keep the dream alive, and they just kind of sat there and, lost. They just let their opponents walk into them, take the team fight, and from there it was over.
Yeah. Well, once again, the Death Blossom catching the Gale Gamers unaware. Pretty much, they were very low by the time the Death Blossom was dropped, and then it is a fraction of a second when the Death Blossom hits you for you to react. And, they just didn't quite have that awareness to see it coming up. You definitely have to pretty much be reacting before it happens, in a sense, to have a solid chance at surviving so much incoming damage from those ultimates in general. We are going to head over to a quick break, folks, but don't go anywhere. We're going to see the last match here against Nuclear Eagles and Gale Gamers. Unless Gale Gamers can bring this back for us, we will have to see, though. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Hey folks, welcome back to the 2021 Overwatch EGF High School National Championships. We are still bringing you the semifinals match between Richardson High School's Nuclear Eagles against All Hallows High School's Gale Gamers Blue. Now, right now, we have seen Nuclear Eagles put forth a very, very strong performance gameplay-wise. It is 2-0, so potentially match point here coming up. Ocean, we're going to move into Hanamura next. So once again, diverting from the previous history of map pools that these teams had when they faced off, they were on Volskaya last time, so now trying their luck on Hanamura.
Do you think this is better? I feel like Hanamura has a lot more potential to kind of make your opponents uncomfortable or even cheese your opponents a little bit. And for people who are not familiar with that phrase, a cheese means win by unconventional means in esports. It's a phrase that we use. It's kind of like cheese is unconventional, but work sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're unorthodox.
How we came up with that.
So yeah, like unorthodox strategies that have merit in ways that can throw your opponent off balance and catch them unaware.
Yeah, that's the best way to explain it. And Volskaya Industries has no room for that at all. Volskaya Industries usually is my favorite map because of the way it separates, the big teams from the smaller teams, because it requires a lot of coordination. Yeah, you'll have to play different compositions and different metas. Usually dive compositions, which are harder and require a lot more composition. A lot more. I put this in a nice way.
There's a lot more nuances that have to be executed perfectly, and when one is not happening, it is very obvious and crumbles quickly.
Yeah. You have to be perfect in your coordination. That's the best way I can put it. I was trying to put it in a nice way to say that is not going to suit All Hallows High School. I didn't want it to come off extremely harsh afterwards, but coordination-wise and knowledge of the game-wise and just in general Overwatch-wise, All Hallows High School are not the better team here. Like, that's just a pure fact. They're going to have to accept it. And if we went to Volskaya Industries, the map would have been done before it started, so I'm glad they picked Hanamura here, and it looks like they have got one of those unconventional strategies. It looks like they're running out Symmetra. Symmetra, traditionally an off-meta hero, needs a little bit more often nowadays for different teleporter strategies. It looks like they're going to try and teleport to the objective as soon as they can.
I love that Phoenix is already scoping around for some of these, more cheeky or unorthodox positions coming through, but of course Dakwall is just in this back line. Did not check this much of an unorthodox position here, just the typical high grounds. He can't hit it. There it is. Finally opens up with a headshot there, and the other members of Nuclear Eagles continuing to stay strong on the point and hold the objective down. That's Symmetra putting in a lot of work here, but All Hallows trying to do their best. They've got a couple kills from Oblivions, and that's going to cause Nuclear Eagles to have to walk back. And there it is. All Hallows coming up and managing to cap the point.
Yeah, so the double shield composition isn't very well. That's what Richardson High School are running right now. So as soon as they got onto that point and had to rotate towards the point themselves, so once All Hallows teleported to the objective, it was very hard for them to walk in. With all those shields in the face of Kelly-Dud, they were just able to build up a charge that beam up on the Symmetra and do a lot of damage, and they were able to capture point A. So unorthodox strategy works really well for All Hallows High School, and this is why they picked Hanamura.
Yeah, and look at the time bait that they captured the first point on as well. That was a fantastic amount of remaining time for them to push on. The TP was thrown across the way and is deleted quick, but I don't know if that was the main objective. All Hallows just rushes in down the middle. It's a tough fight here as Nuclear Eagles sees them walking through and has berated them every single step as they've come through the choke. Kelly-Dud finds a couple, but it's going to be Richardson High School stabilizing after one tick is given up.
Want that ultimate back. I don't think this fight is really winnable for All Hallows High School because of the respawn advantage For Richardson, their players will respawn back faster and be able to win out that team fight. But look, there's a tick at the point capture. The tick of the point is a third of each point, so 33%. And if you get 33% without the point being contested, you actually get to keep that progress. So Hollows will be using that along with their Graviton Surge in the next fight. That's the main win condition for them, because Red Mosquito does not have the sound barrier to counteract it.
I like that Richardson High School has this high ground here. It's going to make it really tough for Al Hallows, but they have to jump down and get healed up. They were so crispy from that dynamite, and it is so chaotic on the point. Look at all these flashing lights from all the different ultimates from both teams here. They are trying to find an advantage, but giving it their all, taking down Tom here in the process. The healer out of the equation is going to be rough, but the DPS from Richardson's High School have just carried so much and basically took out almost all members of All Hallows.
Quite confused. Not because there were so many flashing lights everywhere or whatever, but that team fight, with how it started off and how the general gist of Overwatch goes, and just my knowledge of the game, is that should have been an All Hallows team fight victory. The Graviton Surge was good, got 4 members, had their DPS in position to do damage, but nothing died. So either they were missing shots of the Graviton Surge, or they were all not focusing the correct target. So that's exactly what happened there. Probably the latter, probably weren't focusing the correct target. And just something I noticed there, they were taking damage from a Symmetrator on purpose.
Yeah.
With the nuclear Eagles to charge up their support ultimates. I like that. Very clever from the young team.
I was going to call that out too. Just the small things that are really setting them apart from everyone else to show that edge that they have and create those advantages. They're trying to hold back though. That Symmetra wall is going to be tough to dance in between. And now Al Hallows has sent Bob onto the point. They're trying to herd Richardson Eagles off to the side and into the opposing Bob there. But oh man, Dr. Drago is just on fire. He's taken out of the equation and Al Hallows has the traction. They've got the second checkpoint, and that is going to be a second checkpoint cap for All Hallows.
He's strong. And on Hanamura, if you even capture both objectives right now, it's pretty strong. Just because of the way the meta is and how usually you'll have faster players coming back via the late respawn or the earlier respawn side for the defense, it's very hard to capture both points of Hanamura. And they've done it with 3 minutes left on the time bank, or just under 3 minutes. So this is hard for Richardson High School. I didn't really like how they played on that double shield. I think they suit something a little bit more aggressive. They had a real identity in map 1 when they were playing the rush composition. So I would like them to go back to that and just try and finish this match as soon as they can. And it looks like they want to do something similar to that. They might run the Hunter instead for a bit of extra spam and scouting, but I think that's okay in this matchup.
I was really happy to see Al Hallows come through so strong for this Hanamura map. Definitely better than what we've seen on some of the other ones, and I think that those unorthodox strategies did pay off. I have to say the Ashe coming through from Al Hallows was just so powerful. Phoenix just making everybody on Nuclear Eagles crispy. Extra well done.
I like my food like a crispy. I think everything needs a bit of crisp to it, right? And what also needs a bit of crisp to it is this attack from Richardson. Not only do they have to capture both points, but they need to have above, or they have to have any time on the bank if they want to attack again. So that's exactly what Richardson are aiming for.
That's right, and if Al Hallows can push this to 0 time bank, it'll be a tangible win condition for them. Paradox fell to 99 health right there, but Dr. Draco already got the first kill. I don't know what happened or how Dar was caught out, but it is going to be all uphill battles for All Hallows there. A huge boop comes through. Did he TP in time? Just in the nick of time, Dr. Drago just made it back onto the edge. That is some quick thinking and reaction time coming through. You don't even always see that in the pro plays, but great job from Dr. Draco.
Team fight. I'm not exactly sure how they got that first pick onto Dar. I think because the rest of the team, with the rush composition, usually stayed quite tight and usually engaged on the one target as one, was away from Drago. Drago was on some weird angle on the side and managed to catch out Dar, so Dar must have been out of position, or very much out of position to get caught out there.
Yeah, big pick onto Paradox early though is going to set Nuclear Eagles back. They're going to want to get that tank back up in their line out and just wait out this time a little bit. Ocean, they have plenty of time to wait.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, Drago was going for another play on
Okay.
the side. So Drago likes to flank on this Reaper, and you can flank on Reaper in this competition, but typically a little bit closer to the team. It's more off-angling than flanking, but these are very hardcore flank routes from Drago. I don't like the fact that Richardson are trying to push into this high ground with this competition, because it's not good at brawling, it is good in open areas, and then walking into close quarter areas. But, like, it doesn't quite work in this corridor. There's too much spam damage for it to even walk through.
Stun! Dr. Drago was going to be looking to get aggressive and probably pop that Death Blossom, but he's hooked very quickly out of it and then deleted soon after. It's not going to matter though. Richardson High School has those kills coming through. They are taking down members of All Hallows one after another and trying to capture that objective. Paradox just booping everyone around. The TP trying to bail her out, but Kelly Doug could not make it out. Now Dr. Drago is back and he has the Death Blossom. They're shattered on the ground. That was very great coming through from Majin. It's probably not going to be enough. He fell so low and is finally taken back and healed back up there. Now Death Blossom is popped and Dr. Drago is trying to do his best to find the value, but it looks like All Hallows are not giving this fight up easily. The spawn advantage is in their favor and they are constantly coming back and making this a difficult battle for Nuclear Eagles here. The turrets are down, slowing people and trying to take anyone down, but Dar gets taken out of the equation. All Hallows just cannot quite find the traction to keep Nuclear Eagles back and off the point, and they're trickling their best, but it is a long fight here. A big pin coming in from Majin could help a little bit, but there are still a ton of Nuclear Eagles on the point. The stalls are coming through, and I don't know if anyone's going to touch this time around, and that is going to be a round 2 completion.
I like the ton of Nuclear Eagles on the point, making it seem like instead of like players, it was actual Nuclear Eagles. Oh, I wonder what those would be like in real life. Like, Nuclear Eagles, are they just drop bombs or something? I'm not exactly sure.
Ooh. Or are they, I guess, are they nuclear, like they give off radioactivity nuclear and thus cause those nuclear effects to other people around them? Or do they
Maybe they
go
just smell
nuclear?
really bad. Maybe they just smell really bad and you just shouldn't go near them. Maybe that's what, like, maybe there's like a really stinky eagle breed and that's, you're not meant to go near them and that's why they're, maybe that's what they're calling their students. I hope not. I hope that's not what that is. Don't be mean. But yeah, no, Richardson High School, when they're on that rush competition, they look 10 times better. All Hallows, they're looking to play something similar on their offense. I'm not sure timing-wise or coordination-wise they'll be as good at it as it. And I also think the fact that they're playing Hanzo tells me that they're just mirroring the composition and not understanding how it works, because the Hanzo typically isn't in this composition whatsoever. Usually Echo, Tracer, Sombra with this Reaper, not a Hanzo. So this tells me they don't know what they're running, they are just mirroring it because their opponents did well with it.
Yeah, and sometimes just trying to match some of the same patterns as your opponent does yield the best results, but at the end of the day, it's going to be who can do it better, and someone's going to be singing the song of anything you can do, I can do better. So we'll have to see how it actually unfolds here between the mirror comps. Right now, just pepper damage through the choke point here, but time is a factor for both these teams as we are on the 3rd round. All Hallows pushing through the choke here, and demeched early is Majin. It's going to be a very big disadvantage as then there's not going to be any defense matrix to mitigate the damage. Kelly Dud, though, aggressive on this Reaper, finding some value, but getting pushed back as well. He's got to Wraith away. He fell so low, and that is a lot of pressure coming through from the front line of Nuclear Eagles. The remake is attempted, but not quite finding everything they're looking for, and now Nuclear Eagles just continuing to berate the motion.
Remake is actually going to hurt them because now that D.Va is not in mech. Okay, no, they are managing to get that built up, and they will be back in the mech. They need that remake. They need that D.Va in mech if they're going to have any chance in this next fight. But Darkwell can end this here, right now. They've got a Dragon Striker that wants to use it early.
There's a hook coming through from Oblivions on that Roadhog once again, trying to find that pick potential, and the All Hallows has to push through this choke at some point. The self-destruct is thrown from Venom, though, into the front. doesn't find any kills, but the D-Mech is there. And now back and forth between the two teams. Nuclear Eagles, though, coming out on top with the man-up advantage there. They're trying to do their best to hold strong, but Ocean, it is looking grim for them. The Coalescence popped as they're trying to keep their tank alive. A great hook from Oblivions. Dakwall is not going anywhere. That could be a tide-turning pick coming through for All Hallows on this first point here, but the Death Blossom from Dr. Drago, nothing is mitigating it, and except for some dragons and Death Blossoms of their own from All Hallows. It is a scrappy fight, but it looks like All Hallows is not giving this up easily. It's just Hanzo doing his best, and he's been cleared out. Ocean, that's going to be our third round completion.
Pretty good look. You know, they were setting themselves up well. They got into the fight, which is quite hard to do in Hanamura because of that doorway. It can be so hard to get through because there's so much spam damage usually on this map and this point in particular. So All Hallows did very well to get through there. But just in that last team fight, they'd already succumbed to such an advantage where Nuclear Eagles were just doing so much more damage and building up their ultimates better to where it was almost nigh impossible for them to win that last team fight. And the reason is they had so much resources to use. They could have used the Death Blossom like they did, Nuclear Eagles. They had a Dragon Strike to use early enough if they wanted to. They had a Coalescence. They had everything online, really. So it was pretty much an impossible team fight for All Hallows to win. If they had that sort of team fight early on in the round, we'd still be talking about their attack, but
yeah,
playing well at the wrong times there. And sometimes Overwatch is just like that. Your opponent has more ultimates, you don't have anything to really deal with them, so you're just gonna lose that team fight. It's a GG go next scenario, and they're gonna have to reset themselves properly. Otherwise, we're gonna be talking about a 3-0 Richardson victory in just about 30 seconds time.
Yeah, and that ultimate economy and resource management is huge in Overwatch, which, you know, we see it oftentimes kind of snowball out of control sometimes for the control maps, especially as you get in that cycle, you're already in that advantageous position. So looking to see if they can continue to manage those resources here for this Hanamura map. It is our last round, and if Nuclear Eagles can cap it that first 33%, they're going to go ahead and win it. All Hallows can't afford to give up any room at all on this defense. Those turrets putting in a lot of work, but there's the bubble coming down, and it protects everyone on Nuclear Eagles, managing to allow them to get the kill onto Shuo there. They're continuing to cleave forward, and this is looking like it's going to be all over for All Hallows. They've lost so many people now, Ocean, and cleared out. It's going to be Nuclear Eagles going ahead and taking it.
Set properly. They were not in a mindset to go and take that back. What they needed to do is say, okay, we had a really cool team fight at the end there. They just won because of ultimates. Let's try something that suits us. Maybe something spammy that will stop them getting through Chow. They just kind of sat back on point, and similar to King's Road, they just kind of let Richardson walk into them, kill them, and let them win the game. So that's kind of just what happened there right at the end. So that means Richardson High School, in pretty dominating fashion, will move on to our grand finals.
Yeah, congratulations to Richardson High School's Nuclear Eagles for winning this semifinals match and being able to move on to the grand finals over on our primary stream. I gotta say, I think that, you know, Gale Gamers, they did a good job, but just too much giving space. You know, at some point after you've given space, you have to hold your ground and fight back and make a stance and create opportunities or pounce on opportunities. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, it's just hard to always find quite that little chink in the armor you're looking for, or, you know, that right timing of when to push back after giving space to those abilities and resources coming in.
Quite clear to see that Richardson High School was the better team by quite a margin. All Hallows High School, they have a lot of macro issues to sort out. I think they have 4 right now. Timing. 2, understanding of the general game and their compositions. 3, like you just touched on it there. Giving up way too much space, way too early, right? It happened on King's Row a couple of times, happened on Hanamura right at the end. And 4, and this is the biggest one for me, coordination and teamwork in Overwatch. It is so important, and at times it looked like they had none of it. So, All Hallows, those are things to work on, something for them to learn on, not something for them to get sad about, oh, we got crushed here. It's something for them to go, all right, we'll do that better next time. And I hope these young players can take it like that and move on to next year and see how they do then.
Yeah, well, you talk about that, and that's the mentality of what real champions will have is this was an opportunity to learn and grow. And upon review, you're going to see exactly how you can continue to refine your gameplay to become more of a powerhouse next year. And being aggressive with that and having that drive to grind and improve in those ways, definitely, if you want to be serious in this world, it's going to take you far. And that is a blanket statement for that type of mindset. It looks like we are going to have an interview coming up in just a moment, folks, with someone from the Nuclear Eagles team. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. Hey folks, welcome back. We have with us Red Mosquito from the victorious Nuclear Eagles team. Red Mosquito, thank you so much for joining us today and congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, well, so you guys have been, let's just say, tearing through the competition from this championship round and from the series. How are you guys mentally staying grounded? And, what are your thoughts around the championships and, of course, the grand finals?
I think our team is we're very much prepared for the finals. We've been practicing. We do take a lot of mental breaks. Like right after this game, we just all kind of was like, we're all going to take a break, kind of relax, and then get ready for finals again. But I think we're all ready to win.
All right,
Nice.
I'll ask you some questions about yourself and how you find this event so far. So, what have you learned from this event, not just as like a player, but as a person, and how you want to achieve different things in life on a competitive note as well?
I've learned that communication, especially through Overwatch, is a very big part of just everyday life. Communicating with either your friends or your teammates, it just helps a lot. And making sure that you have just a positive attitude keeps everyone's spirits just lifted.
Question from me about yourself and the team. So, what are some of the goals for yourself within Overwatch or competitive gaming and the team as well?
For at least myself, I know that I want to be a pro player one day. That is a goal of mine, is to be a professional. If Overwatch is still a game, when I am able to do that, to be a professional Overwatch player. And for our team, our goal is just to get our names out there, make sure everyone knows who Richardson is, and that we are not people that you can push around.
I said,
Yeah, well, not people you can push around is a bit of an understatement, in my opinion. Red Mosquito, I'm sure how many years left you got till you're able to go pro for your dreams for anyone
Um,
out there interested?
So I'm gonna be a senior in high school. I'm currently 17, so I technically one more year. So there legally I could be signed to a pro team.
Still eligibility.
Yeah.
Very nice. So you're about to go into your senior year then, and I'm assuming you're going to continue to be on this team as well. Why do you like being on the Richardson High School esports team? Like, what elements keep you wanting to come back and that you enjoy?
So I honestly, the people in our esports group, they're just amazing. They're all great people. They're all funny. They all are very caring people. Our coaching staff and our manager, they're our teachers, but they're all great teachers. They all care about us, and they always make sure that we are mentally and physically well, and they just watch out for us so much. And so I really appreciate that.
Nice. Well, it is good to hear, that the team is being taken care of in such a well-rounded way as well. A lot of things tend to be underrated, and keeping everyone's mental state in peak condition does mean that you're going to have peak quality performance. You just thanked a whole bunch of people who are supporting you, like behind the scenes, and that make this experience enjoyable. Is there anyone you actually want to specifically shout out and, really highlight what they do or what they bring to the table for you?
So I would like to mostly our my support duo who goes by Tom in game.
Woo!
He's a really good player, and he makes sure he always checks up on me, and I always check up on him, and we always have each other's back. I would like to thank our coaches as well for just being very supportive and like actually being able to take care of all of us high schoolers, you know, because we're all a handful. And then just my parents for supporting me through my esports career.
Nice. Well, of course, big thanks to parents and happy Father's Day to anyone out there who is a father figure, or whatever that may be. Red Mosquito, congratulations again on your semifinals win, and good luck coming up in your finals matchup on the A stream over there. Folks, you'll want to hop over in a minute to catch more of Red Mosquito, but thank you for joining us and good luck on your next game.
Thank you.
Folks, like we said, that is going to go ahead and wrap up our match for the day. Richardson's Nuclear Eagles are going to head over to the A stream to face off for the finals match that is going to be coming up, and you're not going to want to miss it. They have been absolutely just a force to be reckoned with in this league, and now it's really time to lay it all on the line for them, Ocean, and show everyone what they're actually made of.
Yeah, I'll actually point out just while we were doing that interview, this week has showed me how important esports is, or any sort of competition at a high school or collegiate level, because it develops people so well.
Oh, yeah.
Every single person, apart from maybe one or two, has been so good in interviews, so well spoken, so confident, and so competitive. I love that, and I think this esports competition, this national championship, has developed so many people, and it is really showing the magic of esports, the magic of video games, and it's very nice to see.
I am 100% in agreement with you there. And, the work that EGF brings to the table to bring all of these different esports to everyone and bring everyone together across the nation. They cover a variety of tiers, and all in all, I gotta hand it to them. They do a fantastic job of putting together these events and bringing everyone together. Uh, we are going to wrap up for the day, though, Ocean. It has been fantastic casting with you once again this weekend. Folks, if you enjoyed what you saw here, of course, please feel free to follow both of us on our own Twitters as you see below. Big shout out to our producer behind the scenes. He is the horsepower making the magic happen. And, well, outputting this magic that you see right before your eyes, Will English. Thank you so much. This is for you. Tyler from EGF, once again, big thank you for everything you always put in behind the scenes. Really, the magic behind EGF and keeping us all here and wanting to come back repeatedly. And of course, big thanks to the collaborators who helped put this together of Disney and ESPN. Folks, make sure you head over to that A stream to check out the finals match coming up. But it's been a pleasure, and we will see you soon.